Making time for ourselves. So this is very much for our moms, our caretakers, our caregivers, our very career-driven women, our women in our group who are in college, basically any woman who is ambitious and driven, and you're a busy person and you have trouble making time for yourself. So one of the things that I mentioned here is practicing mindfulness. So even if you're busy, taking a few minutes, just a moment each day to practice mindfulness. And mindfulness can look like really activating our senses. So like for a walk, moving your body, going outside, smelling outside, the nature, getting your body and yourself in some sun. You know, what do you smell? What do you hear? What do you taste? So being very present. So that's really about mindfulness, is really releasing. Really releasing also helps that when we're prioritizing ourselves, it is so good for our mental and emotional health to do a little bit of stretching, because our nervous system is so tense from stress, from feeling overwhelmed, from frustration, sometimes even from resentment, that we store that in our body. So doing some deep stretching, reflexology helps to release. A couple of things that I want to sprinkle in here, and please, so setting boundaries and learning to say no when we need to. That is something that will make a difference when it comes to making time for ourselves. I remember at one point where I would say yes to so many people and so many different commitments and responsibilities, and then I would be frustrated and resentful at other people for those commitments that I made, at myself for making those commitments, and then I'm sitting here wondering why I don't have time for myself, because I overloaded myself. So a lot of the times, if we step back and look at all of the commitments and the promises that we make, what can we kind of finagle with? What can we manage? What can we maneuver? My other point that I want to make, the second one, is scheduling breaks. I know sometimes people think of a break like, oh, in the middle of your day, which yes, that is a part of it too, of making time for ourselves. Taking a break in the middle of the day is very important. However, for those of you who are moms, especially for my moms who have little kids, or even if they're teenagers, the best break that you could give yourself is in the morning. In the morning, before everyone wakes up, before the kids wake up. If I don't know if you have a husband or a partner, but if you can try, I know it's a little bit of a sacrifice, because that means you need to go to sleep a little earlier, but if you can wake up before everyone, it's almost a sort of feeling of like waking up before the world wakes up, so to speak. And that makes such a difference, because you can feel like you're getting a little bit ahead of the day. Spend that time doing whatever you want, whether that's meditating, reading a page of a book. I know some of my clients are Bible readers, so they like to read a devotion in the morning. But if you can carve out just a little time, if you're brushing your teeth, while you're brushing your teeth, listening to something inspirational or motivational, right? That's nothing additional that you have to do to do that. So I can't tell you I feel like 9.9 times out of 10, most of my clients, especially my clients who are moms, when they take that time out in the morning before their kids wake up, it is a pivotal, it's just such a difference for their mental and emotional health. In my notes here, engage in activities that you love. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in our day-to-day, in our responsibilities, in our routine, and we forget about the things that used to bring us joy. So whether that's a hobby, it's a creative outlet, spending time in nature, just engaging in some activities that bring you joy is really going to help make time for yourself. So we talked about practicing mindfulness. We talked about setting boundaries, scheduling a break for yourself, especially if you can do it in the morning. Engage in activities that you love. And the last one I want to bring up is delegating tasks. I know this is really hard for some of you, because some of you really like to, I am the person that does this and no one else can do this task but me. However, if there are certain people that you trust, if there are certain tasks you are willing to let go of, maybe there may be only a couple of them, it's probably only literally one or two, but it will make a difference in you being able to make time for yourself. I'm saying that because I remember at one point, and I'm saying this for my moms and my caretakers and caregivers, but this is also for my women who are career driven and maybe you're unmarried and you don't have kids, but you have a lot going on in your life and you're overwhelmed. I will never forget the day that someone that I trusted, I had this person clean my apartment. And if you don't know my background and how I was raised, I'm very much raised to clean up after yourself, always leave a place better than you found it, right? I'm very clean. I'm a very orderly person. And with my family being from the islands, we don't usually typically have somebody cleaning up after us, right? So I've always been someone that's cleaned up after myself. And I had to work through a little bit of my own sense of feeling guilty that I had someone clean my apartment, feeling guilty, like, why can't I as a woman keep up with responsibilities of life? There was a bit of shame there that I had to work through with my own therapist, right? So there's some things that sometimes surface up as to why we can't seem to delegate tasks. Why are we so committed to this control? So the sense of, I'm saying this whole long story to say, I got home from a very long day. It was probably like 14 hours of working, and my apartment was clean. And I never had this feeling in my life before. I know this might sound a little strange to a couple of you, but a few of you might relate to this, of the feeling we feel of like, someone else took care of all of this for me. And it is a nice feeling. So I know, again, it's probably going to be a little challenging because we are so sometimes very particular about, who we have doing those tasks. Do we really trust them being able to fulfill the task and following through with the task through the way we would like? But the caveat to that is that if and when we do finally let go and release and surrender some of that control, we are able to create more space for ourselves, more energy for ourselves. We're able to make time for ourselves because we've delegated this task.